How to think like a millionaire. Reprogram your brain for wealth. The rich and the poor live in the same world, but operate in different realities. The difference between them is not just the numbers in their bank accounts. The real separation lies in the thought patterns flowing through their minds, the beliefs they hold about money, and the identity they carry about themselves. This is the invisible language of wealth, and today you will begin to decode its secrets. Most people stay at the same financial level throughout their lives. They work harder, spend longer hours, exert more effort, but the results do not change. Why? Because the problem is not a lack of effort. The problem is the mindset itself. You can never overcome a bad mindset by working harder. You can only reprogram it. This is the painful truth that millionaires understand, but most people ignore. Think for a moment. In school, they taught you mathematics. They told you history. They gave you science lessons. But no one talked to you about the nature of money. No one explained how it is earned, how it is attracted, how it is protected, and how it is multiplied. They trained you to work at a job, but not to think like a rich person. This is why most people get stuck where they are. They try to earn more without changing their way of thinking. And the result is the same repeating cycle. Money begins in the mind. It does not begin in your bank account. It begins in your belief system, in your thought patterns, in the perception you have of your own value. Every financial outcome in your life, good or bad, is simply a reflection of your internal programming. Everything outside mirrors the world inside. The rich know this. The poor constantly blame external conditions. Most people think their income is limited by opportunities. They say, "I was not in the right place at the right time." They complain, "My luck did not favor me." But the truth is much deeper. Your income is not limited by opportunities. It is limited by identity. You can only attract and hold as much wealth as your self-image allows. This is the most fundamental law of wealth.
This is why when you give $1 million to someone with a broken mindset, they will lose all the money within a year. Their brain does not have the capacity to carry that amount. They do not see themselves as worthy of that level. Subconscious programs send the message, "This does not belong to me," and sabotage begins in every way. Bad investments, unnecessary spending, emotional decisions. The result is a return to zero. But if you give the same $1 million to someone with a wealthy mindset, they will multiply it. Why? Because one person is programmed for survival, the other for expansion. One sees money as a problem, the other as opportunity. One fears, the other strategizes. One holds, the other multiplies. The difference is not in external conditions, but in internal beliefs. Remember, you do not become rich by accident. You do not create abundance by chance. You become rich by making a choice and conditioning that choice into your brain every single day. Every morning when you wake up, your mind tells you old stories. Money is hard to find. Rich people are lucky. You are not different. These stories are codes written in your childhood, and without realizing it, you run these codes again every day. Perhaps you were told, "Money does not grow on trees." This simple sentence has become a virus in your mind. Every time you see an opportunity, this voice whispers. You were told, "Rich people are greedy." And now when you want to earn more, you feel guilty. You were advised, "Be grateful for what you have. Do not want too much." And now you interpret growth as selfishness. Each of these statements has become a program. They are coded into your subconscious, automatically running software. And whenever you feel bad about yourself, settle for less, or sabotage success, you are simply following that program. The computer is not broken. The installed software is outdated. But here's the good news. Every belief can be rewritten. Your brain is not fixed. It is not a machine that will remain the same for life. You can install new mental software. You can change your thought patterns. You can condition yourself to think like a millionaire, not by chance, but through conscious repetition and emotional rehearsal. The brain does not fully know the difference between imagination and reality. It simply accepts as real what you repeatedly feed it. Every time you think of yourself as wealthy, the brain records it. Every time you feel abundance, neural pathways strengthen. Every time you visualize success, your subconscious begins to learn the new reality.
This is the secret behind every successful person. They train their subconscious with focus and feeling. They do not wait for proof. They create through consistent visualization, affirmations, and alignment. Because when their brain already begins to believe they are the person who earns more, their behaviors automatically adjust accordingly. Think about it. How does someone who sees themselves as wealthy act? How do they speak? What decisions do they make? What opportunities do they see? They live in the same world as someone who considers themselves poor, but experience a completely different reality, because the brain filters and presents everything that matches your identity. If you want to earn more money, you must train your brain to see money differently. You must see it as energy. You must treat it as a relationship. You must define it as something that flows toward clarity, confidence, and contribution, not toward confusion, fear, or guilt. Money is not running away from you. You are running away from it. Most people have a complicated relationship with money. You love it, but you fear it. You chase it, but you resent it. You want more of it, but deep down you feel guilty about it. Does that sound familiar? Here is the problem. Money responds to emotions. And if your emotional energy toward it is mixed, your results will be mixed as well. Imagine money as a partner, a relationship. Does money feel respected, valued, and safe by your side? Or would it feel ignored, mistreated, or unappreciated? If you constantly say, money is not everything, money is hard to find, my relationship with money is not good, then money does not want to stay with you. Money is not chasing you, it reflects how you treat it. Millionaires respect money because they understand its language. They track it, study it, and grow it, not out of greed, but because they know control creates freedom. If you want to train your brain for wealth, start by repairing your emotional relationship with money. Instead of saying, I hate bills, say, I am grateful I can pay for what I use. Instead of saying, I cannot afford this, ask, how can I afford this? These subtle shifts restructure your brain from scarcity toward leverage. Asking questions is giving the brain a command to search for solutions. Rejecting closes doors. Here is the truth. The reason money does not come to you is not incompetence. It is not a lack of intelligence. Often, it is not even a lack of effort. The real reason is the identity you carry in your inner world and the connection that identity has with money. If your identity says, I am broke, the universe sends you evidence of being broke. If your identity says, I am creating wealth, opportunities knock on your door.
Your income can never exceed your identity. In the short term, you may win by chance, a lottery, an inheritance, an unexpected income, but if your identity is not suited to that level, you will quickly return to your old state, because the subconscious returns to the zone it is comfortable with, the zone it knows. This is why lottery winners end up broke. This is why those who get rich suddenly lose it all, because the outside changed, but the inside stayed the same. But high achievers bounce back quickly after failure, because their identity is solid. They say, I belong at this level, and the brain goes into action to prove it. It creates opportunities, builds connections, develops strategies, because identity is the root cause of all behaviors. Your realization of this moment is your beginning. Right now, Every word you are reading is creating new neural connections in your mind. You are writing new realities over old beliefs. Perhaps for the first time in your life, you are understanding the true nature of wealth. This is not coincidence. This is choice. And the moment you made this choice, the transformation began. Wealth is not a gift. It is not inheritance. It is definitely not accident. Wealth is the training of the mind. It is the reorganization of thought patterns. It is the elevation of identity. And this process is starting now, right at this moment, because now you see, now you know, and knowledge, when used consciously, is power itself. Remember, you cannot work harder than a bad mindset. You can only reprogram it. And this reprogramming has now begun. Your brain is like a computer, the most advanced, most complex biological processor. And just like a computer, there is software running on it. Every belief you have about money is a line of code written by someone else, parents, teachers, society, or painful experiences. These codes are running silently in the background right now, directing your financial decisions. Perhaps you were told money does not grow on trees. This statement became a program in your brain. Now, whenever you see an opportunity, this code activates and says, "This is hard. This is impossible. This is not for me." Or you were taught rich people are greedy, and now when you want to earn more, you feel guilt. The coding, "more is selfishness," runs and pulls you back.
Each of these statements is software carved into your subconscious. And whenever you behave badly, settle for less, or sabotage success, you are simply following that program. You are not even aware because subconscious codes run beneath consciousness. They are silent but powerful. But here is the good news. Every belief can be rewritten. The brain is not a fixed structure. It has a feature that scientists call neuroplasticity. This is your brain's ability to reshape itself, change, and form new connections throughout your life. Whether you are 8 years old or 80 years old, the brain is open to learning and changing. Inside your brain are billions of nerve cells. Electrical signals pass between these cells. Every time you think a thought, a specific neural pathway strengthens. Every time you repeat a behavior, that connection becomes thicker, faster. This is what psychologists call practice makes permanent. Repetition creates permanence. This is why the rich actually continue to get richer. They have trained their brains to see opportunity. Their default response to risk is not fear, but curiosity. Their instinct is to ask, why not? Meanwhile, most people's brains are programmed for survival. They associate money with stress, not strategy. Therefore, even when new possibilities emerge, most people hesitate. They think, wait, doubt. And if they hesitate long enough, someone else takes that opportunity. Because the brain perceives danger. The unknown is bad. Stay safe. Do not take risks. This is an evolutionary program, but it does not work for wealth. The mind is like a muscle. If you train it to detect problems, it finds problems. If you train it to detect opportunities, it finds opportunities. You do not attract wealth by wishing. You attract it by thinking like someone who deserves it. So how do you train your brain? With repetition. You start small, but remain consistent. Every day, feed your mind with beliefs that reinforce abundance. Write them down. Read them aloud. Visualize them. Feel them. The more you practice new thoughts, the stronger the neural circuits become, until your subconscious begins to act on wealth instinctively. This is how you build millionaire reflexes. Your relationship with money is entirely emotional, and emotions are neurological reactions. Think about it. When you see a bill, what do you feel? Stress, fear, anger, or calmness, gratitude?
This emotional response is the language of your relationship with money, and this language determines your results.
If you feel tension every time you think about money, the brain codes money as danger, and danger is avoided. Your subconscious will cause you to make decisions that keep you away from money. Without realizing it, you avoid work. You see opportunities and ignore them. You spend but do not save because the brain tries to keep you in the safe zone, and for you, the safe zone is the familiar poor zone. But if you feel freedom every time you think about money, the brain codes it as a reward, and rewards are pursued. Your subconscious automates behaviors that will make you money. You wake up early, you work harder, you make better decisions because the brain wants to pull you into the reward zone. This is why the rich look at money differently. For them, money is not stress, but strategy. Not problem, but solution. Not burden, but wings. This perceptual difference is a neurological difference, and this difference can be changed through reprogramming. How does reprogramming happen? Through repetition and emotional rehearsal. Simply saying cognitively, "I am rich," is not enough. You must feel it. This is where visualization comes in. Science has shown that the brain cannot fully distinguish between imagination and reality. When you vividly imagine being wealthy, the brain experiences it as if it were real. Visualize your ideal financial life in vivid detail. See the numbers in your bank account. Imagine the feeling of opening the app. Visualize the balance, stability, growth in your mind's eye. Feel the peace that comes from security. Experience the joy that comes from contribution. Because when you feel it is real, your brain begins to find ways to make it real. Neuroscience calls this cognitive priming. Your mind begins to filter opportunities that match your belief system. Suddenly, you notice connections you ignored. You attract mentors, ideas, and partnerships that fit your new standard. You are not manifesting magic. You are activating your focus. The brain follows emotion, not logic. What you feel most intensely, you eventually find. This is why visualization works. It is not wishful thinking, it is strategic conditioning. Every day, take 5 minutes. Close your eyes. See, hear, feel a wealthy life. The brain records it. Neural pathways strengthen. And over time, this imagination becomes reality.
What you tell yourself every day becomes your identity. And identity directs income. I am broke. I am unlucky. I am not a numbers person. Your brain does not argue. It obeys. It will filter every chance to prove you wrong, because the job of the subconscious is not to make you successful. It is to keep you consistent. So if your identity is broken, even when opportunities knock on the door, your brain will keep you poor. But if you reprogram this identity like this, I am a wealth builder. I am disciplined with money. I attract abundance through value. Then your mind begins to search for evidence to validate this. You make better choices. You manage energy, not excuses. You move from reaction to intention. You begin to act not like who you are, but like the person you visualized. And wealth follows actions aligned with identity. This is where it starts, not with a strategy, not with a spreadsheet, but with your self-image. Because before you earn like a millionaire, you must think like a millionaire. And before you think that way, you must train your brain to believe you are worthy of it. Remember, your brain is now beginning to reshape. Every sentence you read, every idea you internalize is loading new software over old codes. This process is not conscious, but it is real. Neuroplasticity is working. Neural pathways are changing, and you are evolving toward a new financial identity. The difference between the rich and the poor is not luck or intelligence. It is mental models. The poor think in scarcity. The rich think in systems. This is the distinction that changes everything. Because mental models shape behaviors. Behaviors create results, and results determine your life. The poor ask, how can I save money?
The rich ask, how can I multiply my money? Do you see the difference? One focuses on protection, the other on expansion. One is defense, the other is offense. And in the financial game, you can never win with defense. It only keeps you from losing. The poor see price, the rich see value. When a book costs $50, the poor say, too expensive. The rich ask, how will the knowledge inside change my life? When $5,000 is asked for training, the poor say, I cannot afford this. The rich think, what will this earn me? The difference is here. One sees expense, the other sees investment. The poor see problems, the rich see patterns. When the economy goes bad, the poor panic. They say everything will end. The rich strategize. They say opportunity time. Because every crisis is a wealth transfer, not from those who know to those who do not, but from the fearful to the brave.
The poor say, I cannot afford this. The rich say, how can I afford this? The first sentence closes the door. The second sentence forces the brain to search for solutions. Saying, I cannot afford it, stops thinking. Saying, how do I afford it, activates creativity. This is not arrogance. This is training. The rich have conditioned their brains to think in expansion, not limitation. They treat money like a chess game, strategic, not emotional. They calculate the outcome of every move. They see 2, 3, 5 steps ahead. The poor only think about today. They chase instant gratification, and in the long run, they lose. When they fail, the rich do not say, I lost. They say, I learned. When they succeed, they do not say, I am done. They ask, what is next? Because wealth is not a destination, it is a continuous journey. Those who stop must decline. The rich are not different because they have money. They have money because they think differently. This is the critical point you must distinguish. Money is the result, not the cause. The wealth mindset is the cause. Money is the natural consequence of this mindset. Every external habit you see was once an internal belief they built. Perhaps the biggest distinction is the perception of failure. For the poor, failure means the end of identity. The thought, I failed, therefore I am worthless, takes hold. For the rich, failure is simply data. This method did not work. Now I will try another way. The first is catastrophe. The second is feedback. Thomas Edison summarized this best. After failing 10,000 times, he said, I have not failed 10,000 times. I have found 10,000 ways that do not work. This is the essence of the wealthy mindset. Failure is not fatal. Quitting is fatal. And quitting does not happen when you lose. It happens when you stop learning. Risk and discomfort are also perceived differently. The poor interpret discomfort as danger. Starting a new job? Scary. A new investment? Risky. A new skill? Hard. And in the end, doing nothing seems like the safest choice. But inaction is actually the biggest risk, because what does not grow without movement declines.
The rich see discomfort as a growth zone. They know magic begins outside the comfort zone. Every new challenge is a way to expand their capacity. When they feel fear, they do not pull back. They lean forward because they have learned to use fear as fuel. Fear is not a sign of danger. It is a sign of growth. You are not broke because of the risks you took. You are broke because of the ones you avoided. If you want to earn more money, you must be comfortable being uncomfortable. You must reorganize your fear response to associate risk with expansion, not pain. When you make a brave decision and survive, the brain learns that growth is safe. This is where the financial thermostat concept comes in. There is a thermostat in your subconscious, not for temperature, but for success. No matter how hard you work, you will always return to the level your mind believes you deserve. This is why lottery winners end up broke, and high achievers bounce back after failure. Because income rises and falls to meet self-image. If you think of yourself as someone who just gets by, your subconscious will sabotage everything beyond survival. It will procrastinate, waste time, or make emotional decisions that shrink your potential. But if you train your self-image to say, "I am a wealth creator," the brain automatically filters life through this identity. You begin to speak differently. You move differently. You invest differently. Remember, money does not change who you are. It amplifies who you believe you are. To permanently increase your income, first raise your internal thermostat. Every day, act like the person you are transforming into. Dress, think, and act like your future self. Because the brain follows identity, not intentions. If you want more, you must be more. This is not a desire. It is a rule. And it is wise to comply with this rule, not try to defeat it. Fear is expensive. Let us talk about the most hidden tax that keeps people poor. Fear. Fear of failure. Fear of rejection. Fear of losing the little they have. These fears not only consume emotions, they also destroy potential income. Because every financial opportunity requires risk. And when your brain associates risk with danger instead of growth, it will shut down everything that feels foreign in the subconscious. This is why so many people self-sabotage. They are not lacking talent. They lack tolerance for uncertainty. The rich have simply trained their nervous system differently. They have conditioned themselves to stay calm under chaos, to view failure as data, not disaster. They understand that the brain confuses discomfort with danger. This is why they lean into that discomfort, knowing that is where growth hides.
You are not overwhelmed. You are undertrained. When your nervous system interprets pressure as danger, you freeze. Train it to interpret pressure as opportunity. You perform. Start small. Intentionally put yourself in slightly uncomfortable situations. Wake up earlier than you want. Make that hard decision. Speak when you are scared. Every step you take into pressure with purpose, your stress tolerance expands. And with it, your success capacity increases. Because the truth is, you cannot have more wealth than your nervous system can handle. Wealth capacity is directly proportional to stress tolerance. The difference between discipline and motivation is also critical. Everyone talks about motivation. Motivate yourself. Feel the fire inside. Be enthusiastic. But the truth is, motivation fades. Some days you feel it. Some days you do not. Relying on motivation is like relying on wind. Sometimes it is there, sometimes it is not. Discipline, however, is always there. Discipline is acting even when you do not feel it. It is allowing your habit to carry you even when there is no fire inside. The rich do not rely on motivation. They rely on structure. They know emotions cannot be trusted. You will not always feel inspired. You will not always feel ready. But if you still act, if you take action despite resistance, you gain a power most people never touch. Discipline means showing up when it is inconvenient. It means saying no to distractions that will cost you your destiny. It means mastering the small, boring details that everyone ignores, because it is not dramatic efforts that create wealth. It is daily disciplines. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you respect yourself. And this respect turns into confidence. And this confidence turns into momentum. This is why the most powerful sentence is this: I can live if I do what I said I would do. When your word becomes law for yourself, success becomes inevitable. Because now you are no longer dependent on external conditions. You are dependent on internal discipline, and no one can take that from you. You will now feel that you think differently. Old patterns have begun to dissolve. New models are settling in. The codes of the rich mindset are being loaded into your system, and with each passing moment, you are moving away from who you used to be and closer to who you want to become.
You can think rich thoughts all day long, but without action, they are just noise. True affirmations are not what you say in the mirror, they are what you prove with consistent effort. You can tell yourself, I am a millionaire in the making, but if your habits scream procrastination, fear, and inconsistency, your brain believes your behaviors, not your words. Your actions are the loudest affirmations your mind can hear. Here is the truth. You cannot think your way to wealth. You must act your way there on faith. Action is faster than words to the subconscious, because when you take action, you create evidence, and evidence creates confidence. Start small, but move every day. Make one call, read 10 pages, invest $1, drop a bad habit. Every small action tells your brain, I am this now. This is how identity changes, not overnight, but through hundreds of small, aligned steps. The proof confidence cycle works like this. You take a small action, you succeed, the brain records it. It says, I can do this. Confidence rises a little. Then you take a slightly bigger action. You succeed again. Confidence rises more. And over time, what seemed impossible becomes ordinary. But most people try to start big. They want to get rich immediately. They expect to be perfect on the first step. And when they cannot, they say, I am not suited for this, and give up. But wealth is not built this way. It is built with small, consistent, patient steps. So stop waiting to feel ready. Start and let readiness catch up. If you wait for the perfect plan, you will never begin, because there is no perfect plan. There is only beginning, and there is correction along the way. Action brings clarity. Thinking only brings confusion. Now let us talk about the leverage principle. The poor trade time for money. The rich trade money for more time. This is the difference. Leverage is how the rich multiply effort. They understand a simple truth. If your income is entirely dependent on your effort, you are always limited by fatigue. You cannot build wealth with hustle alone. You need systems, scalability, and smart delegation. The rich ask, how can I do this without me doing it? They build teams, they automate, they create assets that work while they rest.
The goal is not to work less, it is to multiply your work. If you are a one-person show forever, you will stay in survival mode forever. Start asking leverage-based questions. How can I use my skills to generate recurring income? How can I turn my knowledge into a course, a book, or a product? How can I use technology to save time? Every time you replace repetition with automation, you buy back energy. And energy is the ultimate currency. Your money can run out, but when used correctly, your energy can create infinite money. The difference between consumer and creator is also critical. Here is the harsh truth. Most people are programmed to consume, not create. They consume entertainment, ideas, and validation. They scroll more than they work. They react more than they think. The rich reverse this. They consume intentionally, but create obsessively. They do not just buy ideas, they sell them. They do not just use tools, they build them. They do not just watch the world move, they design its direction. Consumers spend, creators multiply. So ask yourself, are you building something the world can use, or are you just navigating among what others built? Every time you shift from reaction to creation, you increase your value in the market. Because money follows value creation, and the more value you give, the more income you can generate. The difference between broke and rich is not intelligence, it is initiative. Content creators take responsibility for the results they want. Consumers wait for permission, and wealth never waits. Long-term thinking is also an art. Most people fail because they think short-term. They want instant success, instant validation, instant rewards. The rich think in decades, but act in days. They understand that true compound effect is not just in investments, but in consistency. You may not see results today or tomorrow, but success compounds silently until one day it looks like luck. The poor chase speed. The rich chase sustainability. Your brain loves quick dopamine hits. This is why scrolling, shopping, and shortcuts feel so good.
But discipline requires delayed gratification. It means choosing progress over pleasure again and again. So when it feels like it is not working, remember the reward is growing underground. Every action, every repetition, every small choice is laying foundation. Stay consistent. Success does not emerge for those who start fast. It emerges for those who stay, for those who never stop. It is like a bamboo tree. For the first 5 years, it roots underground. Nothing visible happens. But in the 6th year, it grows 30 meters in 6 weeks. You are the same. Right now, you are rooting. Habit automation is the most powerful tool of wealth. Habits are your brain's way of saving energy. They are automatic scripts that run in the background and decide 90% of your behaviors without your permission. Therefore, if you do not consciously create habits that generate wealth, you unconsciously continue habits that kill it. This is what millionaires do differently. They automate their success. Their daily routines are not random, they are rituals. They wake up early, not because it is fashionable, but because it gives them control before the world starts taking from them. They plan their weeks before they start. They journal their wins and losses to create awareness. They track their spending and investments like a pilot monitors altitude. And most importantly, they protect their focus. Remember, the rich do not have more time. They have fewer distractions. When your habits align with your goals, discipline becomes effortless. You do not need to motivate yourself every day. Your systems do it for you. Because motivation fades, but habits remain. Take the morning routine as an example. When a rich person wakes up in the morning, they do not look at the phone first. They set their mind first. They do 5 minutes of visualization. They review their goals. They feel gratitude. They intentionally design the day. When a poor person wakes up, they reach for the phone. They check social media. They read the news. They have taken someone else's agenda into their own agenda. Before the day is over, they have already lost control. This is the habit difference, and this difference creates massive results over years. Energy management is also a separate science. In a world addicted to distraction, attention is the new currency. If you want to know who the richest person in the room is, do not look at their car. Look at their focus. The rich guard their attention like treasure. They design boundaries around what belongs to them.
Where your attention goes, your life flows. Every notification you answer, every meaningless scroll, every argument you entertain costs mental bandwidth. And this bandwidth is the fuel your goals depend on. If you are constantly reacting, you cannot create. If you are dealing with someone else's agenda, you cannot plan your own future. So cut the noise. Silence the chaos. Focus like a sniper, not like a scattered shot.
Put your phone down for 1 hour a day and work deep, undistracted. This 1 hour will separate you from 99% of the world, because the rich are not smarter, they are just more focused. They do not chase every opportunity, they build the most important one. And this focus over time creates compound effect. Your next step has already become clear. Now you know. Thinking is not enough. Action is necessary. Start small, but start. Seek leverage. Be creative. Think long-term. Build habits. Protect your energy. Because wealth is not one big leap, it is the sum of daily small steps. Here is a truth most people never realize. Your emotions manage your money more than your logic does. Think about this. Every bad financial decision you made, buying something you do not need, avoiding a conversation you should have, staying in a job or partnership that drains you, did not come from lack of knowledge. It came because you allowed emotions to override discipline. Your emotional patterns determine your financial patterns. This is why emotional intelligence is the hidden weapon of wealth. Millionaires do not make decisions when they are reactive. They wait until they are logical. They have trained their minds to pause between emotion and action. Because between stimulus and response, there is a choice, and your power lies there. The poor panic when the market drops. The rich stay patient. When someone wins, the poor feel jealousy. The rich feel curiosity. The poor take things personally. The rich handle things professionally. When you train your emotional responses, you stop being tossed around by external conditions. You become a calm strategist in a noisy world. And this calmness is your competitive advantage. Because in a chaotic world, clarity is currency.
Let us talk about financial guilt, because most people carry it without knowing. You want more money, but a voice inside whispers, "Do I deserve this?" Maybe you grew up hearing that rich people are selfish. Maybe you feel bad for wanting more than your parents had. Maybe you fear success will make you unrelatable, arrogant, or judged. This is guilt disguised as humility, and it silently pushes abundance away. You cannot attract what you secretly resent. If you believe deep down that money is bad, your brain will protect you from it. Here is what you need to understand. Money is neutral. It does not change who you are. It amplifies you. If you are generous, money will help you give more. If you are creative, money will help you build more. If you are disciplined, money will help you grow more. This is not bad. This is energy, and energy simply flows toward purpose. You must forgive yourself for wanting more. You must release the belief that success means selfishness. Because abundance does not create distance, it creates options, and the world needs more good-hearted people with great resources. If you cannot manage pressure, you cannot manage prosperity. This is the paradox. Most people want a millionaire's life, but not the stress tolerance it requires. You think more money will bring more peace, but at first it brings more responsibility, more eyes on you, more weight on your shoulders. The rich do not avoid stress, they transform it. They use it as fuel. They see it as feedback. They understand that pressure is just the body's signal to strengthen. You are not overwhelmed, you are under-trained. When your nervous system interprets pressure as danger, you freeze. Train it to interpret pressure as opportunity, you perform. Start small. Intentionally put yourself in slightly uncomfortable situations. Wake up earlier than you want. Make that hard decision. Speak when you are scared. Every step you take into pressure with purpose, your stress tolerance expands, and with it, your success capacity increases.
Because the truth is, you cannot have more wealth than your nervous system can handle. Wealth capacity is directly connected to emotional resilience. Look around you. Who are you spending your time with? Are they expanding your thinking or shrinking it? Your brain reflects the energy of the 5 people you interact with most. Their conversations, habits, and standards become your subconscious programming.
If you hang around complainers, you normalize complaining. If you hang around builders, you normalize building. This is why the rich guard their circle like a fortress. They do not avoid people, they curate proximity. Show me your circle, and I will show you your future. You cannot train your brain for wealth while surrounding yourself with people addicted to excuses. You need to be around visionaries, people who have made growth not a phase, but a lifestyle. If you do not have them yet, do not worry. Start digitally. Listen to audiobooks, watch documentaries, study the habits of the greats, because when you expose your brain to high-frequency thinking long enough, your old patterns begin to dissolve. You rise to the standard of your environment, so design it intentionally. Resilience is not about being fearless. It is about being flexible. When life hits you, you bend. You do not break. You adapt. You recover faster than before. Resilience is built through repetition, countless moments of stress followed by calm. You have suffered before and survived, so stop telling yourself you cannot handle what is coming. Every setback you overcame trained you for the next level. Remember, you have already survived 100% of your worst days. The rich understand this truth. Pain is temporary. Regret is permanent. So they lean into hard seasons. They build during storms. They use rejection as resistance training for the mind. Resilience is the millionaire's muscle. You cannot buy it. You can only build it. Do not underestimate the power of purpose. Money without meaning is just paper. This is why so many people make money and still feel empty, because wealth without purpose feels like weight. Purpose gives money direction. It tells your brain why the work matters. When your mission is bigger than yourself, your motivation never runs out. The rich do not move with greed. They are driven by impact. They know if their success only feeds them, it will die with them. But if it feeds others, it lives forever. You do not need to change the world overnight. Start by improving the world around you. Help one person form an idea. Create a ripple. Purpose is not discovered. It is designed through action. You find it when you start contributing, not when you wait for clarity.
The more you grow, the more your purpose expands. And the more purpose you feel, the less fear controls you. Because when you know why you are doing something, it becomes easier to figure out how. You are feeling inner strengthening now. Your emotional muscles have developed. Your stress tolerance has increased. Financial guilt has melted. You have designed your environment. Your resilience has deepened. Your purpose has clarified. Now you are not just thinking rich, you are feeling rich. Let us clarify something. Rich and wealthy are not the same. Rich people have money. Wealthy people have freedom. The poor chase income. The rich chase ownership. The wealthy chase time. The goal is not to look rich. The goal is to be free. Freedom is the ability to wake up and decide what to do with your time. To work because you want to, not because you have to. This is true wealth. Having control over your time, energy, and attention. You do not need millions in the bank to feel wealthy. You just need alignment between your time and your values. So ask yourself today, how much of your life belongs to you? Who owns your attention? Who dictates your schedule? If you are spiritually bankrupt, financial success means nothing, and true wealth is peace, not property. You must understand the difference between knowing and being.
You have heard enough strategies. You have absorbed the mindset. You have taken the lessons of the rich. Now comes the real test, turning knowledge into identity. Because here's the truth. Knowing does not change your life. Being does. Remember, knowledge does not transform you. Integration does. Every insight you gained from this journey means nothing until it becomes part of who you are. So how do you make this shift? You repeat the habits until they become automatic. You make decisions until they become instinctive. You live the lessons until they become your lifestyle. This is what the rich understand. Wealth is not something you acquire. It is something you grow into. When you train your brain long enough, your new normal becomes not scarcity but abundance, not chaos but calm, not hesitation but action.
That is the moment you stop chasing success and start embodying it. Let us break down the consistency loop one last time. Your thoughts shape your emotions. Your emotions drive your actions. Your actions create your results, and your results reinforce your beliefs, forming a loop. Most people stay poor because they never break the loop. They think small, feel small, act small, and eventually confirm that life is small. But when you think big, act big, and feel worthy of more, the loop reverses. Your success feeds your confidence feeds your actions, and your actions feed your results. What you believe becomes what you build. So check your loop today. What kind of thoughts are you feeding it? What emotions are you rehearsing every morning? You cannot have a rich life with a broken mindset. Reprogram the loop and you reprogram your life. Being rich is one thing. Staying rich is another. And this is true because wealth is fragile when not maintained with discipline. So what are the habits that keep the rich wealthy? They review their goals weekly. They budget even when they have millions. They read every day. They network intentionally. And they guard their energy like it is sacred. They do not just chase opportunities, they carefully select them. They know every yes carries 1,000 hidden no's. Wealth is not held by luck, it is protected through awareness. Your mind must stay sharper than your lifestyle. Your character must stay stronger than your income. Because if your mindset cannot carry success, success will destroy you. So protect your mind. Feed it with discipline. Starve it of excuses. This is how you stay wealthy long after you become rich. Stay hungry. Stay humble. The most dangerous point in your journey is not when you have nothing. It is when you finally start winning, because success whispers lies. It tells you that you have made it. It tempts you to slow down, relax, let the fire die. But truly wealthy people never stop learning. They never stop growing. They never confuse comfort with completion. The day you think you have arrived is the day you begin to decline. They stay hungry, not desperate, but determined. They stay humble, not weak, but wise. Humility keeps you teachable. Hunger keeps you moving. And when you balance both, you become unstoppable. Every level of success requires a new version of you. Therefore, as your income rises, let your curiosity grow with it.
Read more, listen more, serve more. Because money can open doors, but wisdom keeps them open. It is time to move from success to significance. At this point, wealth becomes less about numbers and more about meaning. Eventually, the wealthiest people in the world reach a realization. What is the point of abundance if it dies with me? That is when success becomes significance. True wealth is looking around and seeing lives changed because you lived. It is mentoring someone. It is building something that outlasts you.
It is teaching what you once had to fight to learn. The greatest return on wealth is impact. When you help others rise, you do not lose anything. You multiply fulfillment. So never forget this. You were not born just to make money. You were born to create meaning. Let money serve your mission, not replace it. You have reached the old mindset. You have passed through scarcity. You have rebuilt your beliefs. You have trained your brain to see opportunities where others see obstacles. Now it is time to live like it. From today, your thoughts are not liabilities. They are assets. Your energy is capital. Invest it wisely. Your time is equity. Spend it intentionally. Your relationships are partnerships. Build them with purpose. Remind yourself every morning, I am the architect of my future. I am the investor of my time. I am the creator of my wealth. The rich do not wait for the world to change. They train their minds and change their worlds. You have everything you need to begin. You just need to decide and then do. Because wealth does not start in your wallet. It starts in your mind. And once your mind is enriched, the rest of your life has no choice but to follow. This was not just an audiobook. This was your blueprint for becoming unshakable. And remember, the richest brains are not born. They are built. So build yours every single day. The asset is you. Train your mind. The rest will follow. Your realization of this moment was your beginning. Every word you read created a new neural pathway. Every idea you internalized loaded new software over old codes. Your mind is now being coded differently. Your life will follow. Because the change has already begun. Silently, deeply, neural pathways have been restructured. The subconscious has been reprogrammed. Identity has transformed. And now the only thing left is to live this new self every single day. Wealth is not reaching a goal. It is forming an identity. And you now carry that identity. The millionaire mindset is now your mindset. The journey does not end here. It begins here.